welcome back everyone, back in the arm rigging today. You join me and we're going to do a quick review on this. So, it's another Airsoft jigsaw puzzle. Amazing. Now, this obviously has been brought to me for obvious reasons. It's been taken apart and hasn't been successfully put back together. Now already I can see that there's going to be some bits missing. Quite obviously there's no spring in there. Yeah, there's no spring. So there's going to be some bits missing. So I think what we should do, like you should do with any good jigsaw puzzle, is lay it all out on the table and see what pieces you're working with. So yeah, let's unbox some of this and see what we've got to play with. Right, so here's all our bits out on the table. So if we start from the front of the gun, we know we've got our front of the gun, obviously. We've got a barrel, we've got a hop chamber. That is complete with a hot rubber and a nub. I'm going to quick look down the barrel and can see that. Obviously the upper receiver, lower receiver, we've got mag release catches, fire selectors, a couple of screws, there's a motor plate. We've got the body pins that are along there as well. Oh, excuse the lens cap. And obviously the butt of the gun, rear sights. So exterior of the body of the gun looks fine. Now this is your gearbox, so we're missing a couple of bits in here. So what can we see that we're missing? We haven't got a spring, we haven't got a spring guide, we haven't got a bevel gear, we haven't got an anti-reverse lever. But they're easy bits to replace, we've got those, that's not a problem. But we are going to take this as an opportunity to upgrade this, so we won't be putting that in, we're going to put something a bit more durable. We will put stronger bushings because this has only got plastic bushings, so we'll upgrade them. We're going to put an upgraded spring and spring guide in, as we need those in there anyway. So yeah, let's get it all cleaned up, get some upgrade parts in and rebuild it and give it a fresh piece of life, I suppose. Right, so here's our selection of parts. We've got a spring, we've got maple leaf hop, omega nub, we've got upgraded piston head, upgraded piston, new bevel gear, new reverse lever, anti-reverse lever, bushings, and of course a spring guide. So yeah, let's clean that up. Right, so the gearbox is all cleaned up, so we're going to fit our new bushings first of all. Right, we are going to shim up the bevel gear first of all, that's where I always start. Get that right with the motor and then we'll work our way through the rest of the gearbox. Right, I've just removed the trigger unit as well just to make life a bit easier. We've got a shim on the bottom here and we've got a shim on the top because I feel that I always use a certain size one on the top to start, because for most gearboxes it's always about the same to get the motor height in there, I find, as a starting point, and we work from there. So let's just see how that fits initially. Right, miles out, so right, after a little bit of adjustment on the first attempt, that is now where we want it. That's got minimal to no movement up and down and is spinning nice and free. So let's get the motor aligned. Okay, with the grips securely on and the motor in there, we can now begin to adjust the motor height using the Allen screw on the bottom here to get the motor to engage nicely with the bevel gear but not too tight. Right, what I like to do is wind the motor right out on here, get to a point where it's nice and loose on the bevel gear, and then we can slowly wind the motor back in until we get it to the point we want it. So I don't know if the camera's even going to have half a chance of seeing it here, but basically what we're doing is we are just wiggling the bevel gear and you can feel it rocking back and forth. And what we want to do is just wind that in gently until we have minimised a little bit more, minimise the amount of movement in the contact between the pinion on the motor and the bevel gear itself. We're happy with that. That's where I want it. The only thing I'm going to do now is check this with half the gearbox missing, so I can see inside and make sure the pinion on the motor isn't sitting too low on the bevel gear. But the only way to do that is to take the gearbox out, have half the gearbox missing, and kind of offer it up to see where it's kind of meeting in terms of its height as it comes through the bottom of the gearbox. So let's do it. Okay, so what I've now done to check the beveled pinion, as I said, I've got half the gearbox. Now the reason we do that is so this bit isn't fixed in, this bit's loose, but it just means we can offer it up. And as we check inside there, if I can get it so the light is correct for you, there you are. So we can see that that is meshing at the correct height, because we can see it's on the gears. It's not too high and it's not too low. So I always do that as a double check. So once I've done it with the gearbox closed and I've felt that there is minimal movement in that, which obviously you can't check while it's like this because it's too wobbly, because it hasn't got any support on the other side. But once you've got that perfect with it all assembled, you can just double check this, because that shows you the height of that pinion. So yeah, hopefully you might find that helpful. Right, so the gears are all in, they're all fine now. The spur gear and the sector gear are all shimmed in. They've got the right space in between them and they are spinning smoothly. So, next bit, piston and piston head. So we want one of them and we want one of them. Now one thing I always like to do, if I'm putting a new part in, for example a new piston, I want to make sure that is going to work with the gearbox. So again, I just have to shimmy it with the gearbox still sealed and closed. I just want to make sure that that is going to fit in there nice. I have seen it on some guns where the aftermarket pistons, they go in and they get stuck and they're not as free flowing as that. So that should fall up and down just by the help of gravity and have minimal to no movement kind of left and right in that. So yeah, that I'm happy that's going to fit, so we can put that in this gun with the new piston and head, and that will work fine. One new piston and piston head, and look at the way that seals. Ready? Absolutely perfect. Right, so we've got to this stage, so now we've got freshly shimmed gears, we've got the replacement for the missing bevel gear, anti-reverse latch that wasn't there, we've decided to upgrade the piston and piston head, we've got a new spring, we've got a full metal spring guide on there, so this should be a little bit of a monster when we put it back together. So we're now finishing the gearbox, so let's close it all up. And hope to God that this closes smoothly. Ready? Because this is always the nightmare bit, tense moment. I've forgotten the trigger. Idiot. Right, we'll try again now that the trigger's there. Right, okay, gearbox assembly back in the grip. Before we go any further, we're going to do a quick test. So we're going to try a 7.4 first of all. Now this is with the original motor, so let's see what it's like. Ooh. Yeah, that's alright, that's good news, that's working. That sounds alright. I'll tell you what though. What about at 11.1? Animal. Right, we're going to do the hop clean, so we're going to clean the chamber in a minute. We will get... Oh my god, what has happened here? Been glued on? Nah, it can't have been. Well, it don't want to come off. That's for sure. Yeah, I think Do you know what? Let's just destroy it. I don't care. It's not coming off. Yeah, bloody thing is glued, isn't it? Okay, right, well, let's clean it up and put a proper hot rubber on it, shall we? Okay, so we've cleaned through the hop, we've cleaned through the barrel. I always find it's just as important to clean that hop chamber as it is the barrel, because any dirt in there is obviously going to get on the BB before it's even had a chance to get in the barrel. So super important that you get all those cleaned. This is our new rubber, this is the maple leafs. We like these purely because I find them so effective with the light BBs, the heavier BBs. Doesn't matter what you want to run through it, once you've got one of these in there, your gun will take everything. Absolutely spot on. So we like these. Right, so for the next bit, now that we've finished doing the hop, the barrel, the gearbox is all ready to go back in the gun, we've got to put it back inside the body. Now this is probably the worst type of MP5, because some of the more modern stuff breaks down a little differently to this, which is, in my opinion, much more preferred. This is a bit of a pain because you have the body that's split into kind of two halves, and you have to put everything in and then put all the body back together. I mean, it's not impossible, it's not massively difficult in any way, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel as nice as the slightly more modern MP5s. Right, now I've tucked all the wires in behind here. Now it's not the original wiring, because someone's obviously had a go doing a separate fuse section here. Now I've been asked to leave the wires if possible, so I think we've got just enough to run up behind all that lot to be able to feed to the front grip. So we're going to put it all together and see how comfortably that all sits. That we've got all the way to the end. I think we're missing that front pin. After all that, we need a front pin. Oh, well, right. Oh well. Right, we're all back together. I've even found a mag to try in it. It's one of my mags. In summary, what have we done? We've taken a gun from a complete pile of bits. We've replaced some missing bits. We've upgraded a lot of the internals to make it a little monster. So we've got pistons, spring guides, springs, piston heads. We've upgraded the bushings to metal ones. We've upgraded the hop chamber in there. We've got the Macron, maple leaf Macron rubber with the Omega nub, so it's going to lift whatever BBs you want to put in it. All we've got to do now is chrono it. So now I've set the hop. We're lifting 0.25s. We've got 2 5s in the gun. So, oh yeah, right. Look at that. 311, 1.12 joules. That is absolutely bang on where we want it. Quite pleased with that. From a box to that. And on the 11.1, it does this. So yeah, I think so. Now if you're not impressed by that, then there's probably no impressing you ever. However, that brings this to an end. Go like it, go subscribe to it, and I'll see you all in the next one.